I would like to introduce Professor Dr. Jagat Ram Bhattacharya, who is presently associated with the Department of Sanskrit and Pali Studies at Bhattacharya University, West Bengal. After he has been teaching for about 24 years at the Bhattacharya University, Jain University in Rajasthan. Although trained and learned in Sanskrit, he has opted for Prakrit as the language of the Jain canons as the field of his research, and is continuing his studies in the field of historical linguistics, Jain canons, and Jainism with comparative religion and philosophy. He has contributed more than 42 articles and 4 books as research publications. Some of these are Some Problems of the Magadha Dialect, Phonology in Hemachandra's Prakrit Grammar, a study on Jainism and Jain manuscripts, and a study on meditation as a concept of Brahmacharya and Jainism, and so on. Apart from attending many national and international conferences in India and abroad, he delivered guest talks in different universities and institutions in Japan, Italy, in the UK, Finland, and Australia. He has been teaching Prakrit in the BL Institute of Indology in Delhi, in the summer school for more than 21 years, and taught Prakrit in the summer camps organized by the Institute of Jainology in London. May I please call Professor Bhattacharya to the dais?
Honorable Chair, my seniors, my friends, dear research scholars and students. Theory and practice of Aparigraha in Jainism with special reference to the Jain canons. This is the subject matter of today's discussion. Aparigraha in Jainism is known as one component of the 5 great vows, such as ahimsa, non-violence or non-injury, satya, truth, achaurya, non-stealing, brahmacharya, celibacy, and aparigraha, non-possession. Aparigraha is denoted as Parigraha Viramana, that is, abstaining from possession, also in Jain scriptures. A mendicant who initiated with 5 great vows observed the state of non-possession along with other 4 great vows strictly, while in case of a householder, this vow is prescribed to be observed in a lenient manner, and it is known as Ichha Parimana, that means limitation of desire. The 5th Mahabrata, or great vow, is the renunciation of Parigraha, that is possession, for the whole life through 3 karanas, that is, commit oneself, make others commit, and approve of commission by others, and 3 yogas, that is, activities of mind, speech, and body. Concept of aparigraha is in the core content of the ethics in Indian philosophy. In the Upanishads, this great idea has been manifested in many ways. The concept of the eternal beauty portrayed in the Ishopanishad as Ishavashyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyang jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kasyasvit dhanam. I have given only one example. There are hundreds and hundreds of examples are there in Upanishads and Brahmanical literatures. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, this is important, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Patanjali in his Yoga Sutram defines yoga in its 8 limbs, such as yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, in which yama is the first and foremost component of yoga to be observed carefully. This yama, like the 5 great vows of Jainism, consists of non-injury, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and non-possession. So, carefully practicing of yoga leads to the spiritual development of a spiritual seeker, where being a part of yama, non-possession plays a pivotal role. Parigraha is in Sanskrit word which is derived as pari plus root graha. Pari, the preposition or prefix to a verb, is an indeclinable, according to the Sanskrit grammar, means round, roundabout, out, about, in addition to, further, opposite to, against, much, excessively, and so on and so forth, according to the context. Root graha means to take, accept, or consume, etc. So the meaning parigraha in general sense is seize or excessive accumulation. In case of an ascetic, aparigraha means a total abstention of accumulation of things, and in case of a householder is a possession of things on the basis of the need. Please read that in case of parigraha, that as an ascetic, parigraha should be aparigraha. 5 parigrahas are defined in the Tattvartha Sutra is Murcha Parigraha. It means the clinging of possessiveness. Possessiveness is a clinging to the animate and inanimate. It may refer to clinging to something in the external world or to feelings within the self. In the auto-commentary of the Tattvartha Sutra, Parigraha is described as desire, coveting, craving, longing, yearning, greed, clinging, and so on. Pujyapada Devanandin, in his commentary, Sarvartha Siddhi, explains clinging as earning money, maintaining one's possessions, and upgrading livestock, precious things, and properties. Nourishing the passions of the mind is also a form of emotional clinging. In fact, clinging is essentially a state of mind. Even in the absence of any actual external possession, a person obsessed with the sense of mindness has possessiveness. The Sarvartha Siddhi raises an interesting contention as to whether the properties of knowledge, intuition, and so on are the possessions, because they may also generate possessiveness. However, the contention is rejected on the grounds that knowledge, intuition, and so on, if enlightened, are not due to passion and therefore are not possessions. The absence of clinging is the criterion of non-possessiveness. Enlightened knowledge, intuition, and so on are intrinsic quality of the soul, and so much are devoid of positive instinct. Lust, hatred, and so on, however, are due to karma and are not properties of the soul, and so much unworthy of being entertained and possessed. The sense of mindness necessitates maintaining the possession, which is bound to involve violence, falsehood, theft, and concupiscence, and ultimately suffering due to what in hell realm or like. One point, Parigraha as defined in the Illuminator of Jain tenets as Mamatva Visarjanam Aparigraha. It means The non-possession consists in relinquishment of possessiveness, the instinct to have, or the having mode. Here is one interesting point, the word Vaidadana. The word Vaidadana was popular in the time of 23rd Tirthankara, Lord Parshvanatha. The simple meaning of the word Vaidadana is sexual indulgence. It includes the association of a female partner in a man's life as possession, like other materialistic things. The idea was also in vogue in other 21 Tirthankaras, except the first Tirthankara, Lord Rishabha. It is a matter of conjecture and draws the attention in respect of sociological and religious emergency, why Lord Rishabha and the last Tirthankara, Lord Mahavira, had opted 5 great vows instead of 4 that were opted by the other 22 Tirthankaras. I have discussed this. Yeah. In the Acharanga Sutra, chapter 2, I have the whole Jain literature, Jain canons. There is the ethical doctrines of the mendicants, ascetics, and as well as the householders. So I have confined those materials only 2 texts: the Acharanga Sutra, that is the vital, most vital, and the first, the canonical text for the mendicants, and the Upasaka Dasa, that is the prescription of the ethical doctrines for the householders. So in Acharanga Sutra, that is the duty of a monk, an ascetic. They stock dairy products and hoard food supplies for entering some householders like their friends and relatives. Realizing that it is a mealtime, a monk who is noble, of noble intellect, of noble perception, and diligent in self-discipline should go out for begging food. He should not engage himself in buying or selling. He should neither himself buy nor cause to do so, nor approve of other doing so. A monk should possess wisdom in respect of the right time of begging food, the physical strength of wandering about for begging alms, the measure of warranted food, the region apt for begging food from, the opportune moment for begging food, the code of conduct, the manner of begging food, the doctrines laid down in the scriptures, the intentions of a giver, that is, whether he likes or dislikes giving food. He should have no attachment to possessions. He should carry out religious duties at the right moment and should be free from likes and dislikes for a particular kind of food. He leads a disciplined life after having broken the shackles of attachment and aversion. He should beg only for such articles as clothes, bowls, blankets, flapper, or broom, a room and straw mats, which have been made for the householder. At the time of receiving food, a monk should know the right quantum that Bhagavan Mahavira has prescribed. It is not possible to lay down the exact quantum of food. It depends upon one's appetite. Neither do all persons have the same appetite, nor do they take the same quantum of food. Even then, Bhagavan Mahavira has indicated the average quantum of food as 32 morsels and has admonished the monks to take a little less than that. On going the desired object, food, etc., he should not feel elated. On the receiving of a desired object, he should not feel dejected. In case of obtaining anything in excess, he should not hoard it up. He should not abstain from acquisitiveness, even while acquiring food, clothing, etc. The monk should abstain from acquisitiveness. The thought, I will use this food and clothing for myself only, and I will not share it with others, is also acquisitiveness. This, what I obtained, does not belong to me, but belongs to the preceptor and to the order. Thinking thus, he should avoid falling a prey to acquisitiveness. Not to take unacceptable food, clothing, etc. Not to get attached to and not to hoard acceptable food, clothing, etc. duly obtained. All these are necessary to cultivate non-acquisitiveness. Even for leading an ascetic life, certain minimum utilities are necessary. They have to be obtained. Even then, he should keep in mind that just as a voyager does not get attached to a boat, which is essential to him for crossing the sea, so also a monk should not become attached to the utilities which otherwise are necessary merely for sustaining life. A seer, a seer of reality should consume things in a manner different from that of a layman. Things are either consumed or renounced. In practice, however, renunciation has certain limits. To keep body and soul together, one has to use and consume things. A seer of reality uses and consumes them, so does a common man. But there is a world of difference of their objects, feelings, and the ways in which they utilize and consume them. This truth, the path of non-attachment, has been prescribed by the Tirthankaras, lest the adept should become deeply attached to it, that is acquisitiveness. It is Herculean task to transcend desire. Life cannot be prolonged. The thread of life, once severed, cannot be retied. Nevertheless, man is sensualist. He craves for sensual pleasures. Non-fulfillment of desire causes a sensualist to grieve on not gaining objects of his desires or on separation from the loved ones. He gets emancipated, shed tears, and experiences pain and remorse. Now, this is the prescription of the monk, the ascetics, which is elaborately discussed in the Acharanga Sutra, and the Upasaka Dasha Sutra. It deals with the ethical doctrines of a householder. And in case of 5 great vows, those are observed by the ascetics. It is rather lenient, in lenient form for the householders, and these 5 great vows is expanded into 12 small vows for the householders. Now, the Upasaka Dasha deals with the code of conduct of an ideal householder, Sravaka. The very first story of the text is dealt with Ananda. While taking oath to small vows to Lord Mahavira, he, in the context of non-possession, that is limitation of desires, admits the observation of vows that there are lots of renunciation of things are here. So I just quote some of them. He limits himself to his actual possessions of gold, wrought and unwrought, saying, accepting my treasure of 4 crore measures of gold deposited in a safe place, my capital of 4 crore measures of gold put out on interest, and my well-stocked estate of the value of 4 crore measures of gold, I renounce the possession of any other gold, wrought or unwrought. Next, he limits himself to his actual possessions of 4-footed animals, saying, excepting my 4 herds, each herd consisting of 10,000 heads of cattle, I renounce the possession of any other 4-footed animals. Next, he limits himself in his possession of landed property, saying, excepting 500 plough and land at the rate of 100 nyatana. Nyatana means that we said bigha. That means maybe 20 of 3 bighas equal to 1 acre. So anyway, that is 500. The land at the rate of 100 nyatanas for each plough. I renounce the possession of any other landed property. Next, he limits himself in the possession of curds, saying, excepting 500 curds for foreign traffic and 500 curds for home use, I renounce the possession of any other curds. Next, he limits himself in the possession of boats, saying, excepting 4 boats for foreign traffic and 4 boats for home use, I renounce the possession of any other boats. Next, on being desired to make his renouncement regarding things of reiterate and things of a momentary use, he limits himself in his use of bathing towels, saying, excepting one kind, namely a fragrant red tinted one, I renounce the use of every other kind of bathing towel. Next, he limits himself in his use of tooth cleaners, saying, excepting the green stick of sweet taste, I renounce the use of every other kind of tooth cleaner. So, he is now renouncing each and everything he used to use every day. So that is why in case of fruit, he wants to use only amalaka. Rest fruits are abandoned or renounced. And in case of that limits himself, he use in unguents, says, excepting oil of 100 or 1,000 ingredients. It is in Ayurvedic term, some oil for massage oil, it is Shatapaka and Shastrapaka, it is said. So that is why he is only using for massage oil, that is Shatapaka and Shastrapaka. Next, he limits himself in his use of powders, saying, excepting one kind, namely scented wet flower, I renounce the use of every other kind of powder. Next, there are so many things are there, and he is limiting his desire and curtailed everything. So in this way, I had a long list anyway. I should not either read it out any. So now I come to the point that the disciple of Samana, the must know and avoid 5 typical offenses against the law of abstention from gross ill usage of living beings, grossly lying speech, gross taking of things not given. He must know and avoid the following 5 typical offenses against the law of contentment with one's own wife. Next, a disciple of the Samana must know and avoid the 5 typical offenses against the law of limiting one's desires, that is, exceeding one's limit regarding the possession of landed property, exceeding one's limit regarding the possession of gold, wrought and unwrought, exceeding one's limit regarding the possession of a biped and quadruped creatures, accepting one's limit regarding the possession of money and grain, and accepting one's limit regarding the possession of metal utensils. With regard to the With regard to the occupation, a disciple of the Samana must know and avoid the following 15 ways of making a living, namely occupation with charcoal, occupation with plants, occupation with curds, occupation with fairs, occupation with breaking ground, traffic in ivory, traffic in lead, traffic in juices, traffic in poisons, traffic in hair, occupation with crushing by machinery, occupation with surgery, kindling of bushfires, draining of lakes, rivers, and tanks, and bringing up women for immoral purposes. Then one quotation is there. The meaning of that I have written there. O Lord, after the fifth great vow is abstaining from possession. O Lord, I am now renouncing all types of possession, be it at village or town, meager or much, subtle or gross, living or non-living. I will not consume any possession, neither will inspire others to consume, nor approve others to consume. And this will be observed in lifetime with 3 types of karanas, operation of spiritual energy, and with 3 types of actions, mind, speech, and body, not to commit possession, others to commit possession, and approve others for possession. Jain ethical doctrine